Hello and welcome to Sound and Vision. Again, I'm your host, Ian James, and once again I am joined, as always, by the brilliant and beautiful Miss Hope Wade.
Hello.
And today it's episode 9 for anyone who's keeping track of the score. And today we are looking at Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm dancing around like a fool right now.
And it's a sight to behold.
How can you not? It's such a great theme.
Is this taking you back?
It is. It puts me in my special place. My other special place.
Oh. You have a few.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
Brilliantly conducted by Hope there.
That's just great. Conducted. Yeah, I was doing the hand motions and everything.
Okay.
It's so good.
Yeah.
How can you not love it?
So I guess this is the start of our Buffy themed show. Before we do start though, if just to kind of tell people where we are and where to find us, to do that now in case we get overexcited and forget.
Yeah, I always forget, but you can follow us on Facebook at Sound in Vision or on Instagram, which I'm always posting crazy pictures on there, and listen to us on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes. I don't know what you're listening to now, but you're listening to us.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've obviously found us somehow, so well done.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And also to anyone who kind of points out that I may get dates and facts wrong. I do, but not very often. And if I do, you can message me and say, Ian got that wrong, and I'll try and read it before I die. Right. Okay. So
you mean you'll sit there and grumble and then
probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then say, "Oh, God damn it! Why did I do that?" But yeah.
Yeah, but I won't lose a lot of sleep over criticism. There are bigger things in life, folks. Okay. So today we're going to look at Buffy, which I guess we have to start with the show's original creator, Joss Wheadon.
Joss Wheadon?
Yeah. It sounds like we're in Detroit here for a second. I can hear sirens.
Oh, yeah. I probably.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the forest. Who would have thought
sirens in the forest. Okay, so yeah, Joss Wheadon is the man we need to kind of focus on first and foremost, seeing this is completely his brainchild. Now he's an American. He was a writer for television, so I hear.
Roseanne, yeah.
Yeah.
And some other ones. I think he did Golden Girls.
Yeah. Not the Tarantino episode.
Yeah, I hope. I don't think he would put him in that.
No.
I don't think.
Anyway, so yeah, writing for TV, but at the same time, kind of, as any 20-year-old guy working in that industry is obviously kind of thinking, I would love to get into the movies. So around this time, he writes his original concept of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which apparently he writes as a response to the fact that he got fed up of seeing horror movies where poor little blonde pretty girls walk into an alley and get killed, and he thought, well, wouldn't it be funny if this blonde girl walks into an alley and like
kicks ass,
yeah. So he writes this whole screenplay out, which he's really chuffed with, and then puts it to Fox, which is a network he's kind of hobnobbing with at the time of writing for telly. And they kind of go through it, read it, like it, so put up a budget of 7 million, which is, a respectable budget, and it went on to make 16.6 million, so it was respectable. It doubled its budget.
It's better than losing.
Absolutely. And whether it's considered a hit or not is debatable, but I know a lot of people remember it, and of course it did inspire the TV series, which we will get round to talking about. But I guess you can kind of say it's a failure in other ways as well, because a lot of people, it's not kind of really fondly remembered by many now. But, you can't talk about the series without talking about the movie.
Yeah.
So it goes into production in 91, and it's directed by American female director, Fran Rubel Kazoo. I can never say her name.
Let's just call her Fran. Kazoo.
Let's just call her Fran, yeah. Kazoo Kazaa. Of Japanese descendant, and so I can't pronounce her name, and I'm very sorry to anyone who shares the surname, but it's not, it just doesn't come to me. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, she's brought in to direct. She reads through the whole screenplay, which is presented to Fox, and they were very excited by the screenplay, apparently. So he was like, oh, this is great. And she worked closely with Joss because it's his screenplay. So he wanted to be around the film set as much as he could. And this is his sort of first big experience of being the key man, you know, in charge of the project to a degree. But apparently when she first read through it, she'd completely seen something that wasn't what he envisioned. She went, oh, this is great. This is a movie about, you know, kind of the culture of the Valley Girl kind of culture. And it's kind of a spoofy kind of take on vampires and stuff. And that wasn't what he was really thinking. He's thinking, oh, you've completely read not what I read. I didn't write it for that reason. But I think he was so chuffed that it was being made, he just kind of buttoned his lip and got on with it. So for anyone who doesn't know the kind of plot of the movie, it's basically Valley Girl, played by Kirsty Swanson, who up to this point had sort of minor roles for John Hughes, or for people who are familiar with Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller would often, you know, she's got these small little parts you notice her in.
Was this her first starring role?
No, because she'd done Flowers in the Attic.
Oh, that was before this.
Yeah, and Deadly Friend for Wes Craven.
Flowers in the Attic.
You know, are kind of the two that put her face out there a bit then. So she got the lead in this one. And so, so it's kind of her in this Beverly Hills, LA, wherever they are. My American geography is terrible.
I think it was, Jesus, I think it was Beverly Hills, LA. Yeah. No, because there's, well, it's a fictional town called Sunnydale, so I'm assuming it's somewhere in the valley. Yeah. Because she was a valley girl.
That is it's the general kind of culture, and the idea of the script and dialogue is kind of written that way, and it predates Clueless, which kind of seemed to bring that to the masses then.
Yeah, and I think it was like supposed to be set outside of LA because they do go to LA at some point in the TV series. So it's kind of outside of it.
But the Valley Girl thing is very prominent, isn't it? The way the girls talk around each other.
Oh, yeah, like for sure.
Yeah, and all that Clueless speak, which once again I have to point, it did come later.
Yeah, as if.
Yeah. So basically, yeah.
I'm down with the lingo.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm obviously not. So yeah, she kind of goes to this school where she's this cheerleading, pretty blonde girl in the year, having boyfriend troubles, you know, this kind of thing, normal stuff. And then one day she's visited by this strange, creepy looking guy in the long coat, which that sounds really worrying. He was played by Canadian actor Donald Sutherland. Who is the star of this piece, I suppose, even though it's got an impressive cast, which we just run through in a minute. But yeah, I guess Donald's the bigwig brought in to kind of push the movie out there. Or he plays a mysterious guy called Merrick, or what is this role?
He's a Watcher.
Watcher, that's it.
Yeah, he is part of the Watcher Council, which is in England somewhere. Ooh. So he's British. And
does he play British in Buffy though?
I think he does. I think he
puts
does.
on an accent to say.
Well, I know it. Stuart Head, he does, and isn't that his name? Anthony Stuart Head or whatever his name is. Anthony. The Head. He played British. And he is British, but I mean, it's only obvious since the council is in England somewhere. So
that would kind of fit in with all the Gothic ideas and stuff, which is apparently where he comes from. Yeah. So yeah, he turns up and meets Swanson, who's obviously very aware of this creepy guy following her around. And then eventually teaches her to, her destiny is to become this vampire slayer. And then we got this whole other episode. This springs back from Centres, where this vampire comes into this modern 1992 LA wherever culture. Oh yeah. Played by the brilliant Rutger Hauer, who I absolutely love. He doesn't really have a lot to do here, but it's just nice to see him. Rutger Hauer is appreciated for me in anything he turns out. He plays this character called Lawfos.
Yeah, he's kind of in the background focus.
Yeah, he doesn't have a great deal to do, but but when he turns up, it's Rutger Hauer. And he's accompanied by a psychic vampire played by Paul Rubens, Mr. Pee Wee Herman, who does a great little job here.
Yeah, he's a hammy in it.
Oh, terribly hammy.
When he's death, I loved it.
Yeah, apparently the whole death scene was completely improvised as well. They just let him do it, which you can tell.
He was probably like, let me see what I can get out of this.
Yeah, basically he just die in 20 seconds. Yeah, he makes it last about 2 minutes. Very good of him. I've never seen anything like it since Sean Bean in Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it took him forever to die.
No.
It couldn't happen quick enough for me. So, yeah, that's basically the crux of the story. That eventually she'll battle Rutger Hauer, and this climatic, plight of what she's learned and what she's skilled to do to save save America, save the world. What the hell she is saving?
From the demons, like the vampires.
Yeah.
She's saving...
But it's a chance to be a hero, isn't it? Because by the end of the movie, and hopefully not spoiling it for anyone, but obviously Donald Sutherland...
Oh, just go watch it already. Turn us off and go watch it.
Yeah, and then come back and
then come back, yeah.
Yeah, basically, Sutherland does his job of teaching her. Sutherland obviously dies, and it's her big moment to kind of rise to her true destiny and save the whole school, which she does in the climactic scene in the big prom sequence, which I know Hope's a massive fan of that.
Yeah, that's my favorite, prom scenes.
American prom scenes, yeah.
I love it. Especially killer prom scenes.
Yeah, and this
Lots
one...
of deaths.
This one ends with a great big... yeah. the prom that would have been... Yeah.
Big Daddy.
Yours would have been Carrie-esque, I take it.
Oh, very much. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Bloodbath in there.
Yeah. So did you ever attend any of yours in America? Because prom, the whole thing really is very American.
No, I never attended a prom. That's probably why I like when they get killed there.
That's really worrying. Okay, so...
Just kidding. I know some people enjoyed it. Some people love to get dressed up and go to the little dances. And I was not a dancer, obviously.
You don't want to be anywhere near a prom unless there's pig's blood involved.
Exactly, unless there's some carnage, something going on,
Some
somebody having powers.
Or something, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Somebody in a car getting turned over.
That's why she now is currently in the UK. And the Americans can all sleep safely knowing that she won't be anywhere near their proms.
No, yeah.
Okay, so just going back to the story of the movie for a second. As we mentioned, Swanson, obviously in the lead, does a good job here. I think, Percy fills out the role very well, even though, once we start talking about the series, you can't think of anyone else being Buffy other than Sarah Michelle Gellar once we get there.
Oh, yeah.
The supporting cast of this movie in 92, though, is pretty impressive. Again, as I said, Ruggera, Paul Rubens, Candy Clark, who I really like, an actress in the 70s, who did The Money Fell to Earth for Nicholas Roeg and did American Graffiti, and a whole host of movies from the 70s into the 80s. It was in Blue Thunder and Amityville 3 and various things, like in the Blob remake as well, which is very good. She plays here as Buffy's mum, so it's quite pleasant to see her. And it's that kind of cast. Hilary Swank makes her first film appearance here as well. She'd go on to be a 2-time Oscar winner.
Yeah.
And David Arquette in an early role also here plays the vampire. And you got Ben Affleck in a blink and you'll miss him part. Ricky Lake in a blink and you'll miss her part. And Seth Green, who was in this movie for 5 seconds.
Yeah, who later becomes a big part of the series.
Yeah, and he's the kind of link really, because he's the one thing that transcends into the movie, or carried over in some way. Although he denies I'm not in that movie. It's like, well, you are, but you've seen the Red State. Yeah, there's still 5 seconds of him floating around in the movie. But what we should say about this movie, and the most important thing we're going to say about the movie, is that Joss Whedon was not happy with the whole project, because by the end of filming, they had basically stripped out much of the way he structured it. They had taken away all the humour, which is probably his strongest point.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they got a lot of the jokes, what he was getting at, and sadly for him, a lot of the dialogue was changed between characters and stuff, and especially his relationship with Donald Sutherland, because like I said, he was on set when they were filming most of this, and the tension between him and Donald Sutherland got really bad because Donald Sutherland would turn up every day and improvise lines, just completely changed the whole script rate. And of course the director Fran was happy just to get the film made, and of course he was the star, so it was like, let him do whatever he wants to do.
Oh, bullshit.
But it got
I call bullshit on that. I don't care how big you are. You need to listen to the person who made the movie and his vision, right? Yeah. It's his vision.
Yeah, anyway, this I love Donald Sutherland, so I can't say nothing bad. But basically, it forced Joss Whedon to walk off.
I would too.
He walked off the set.
I would so walk off.
Pretty much screw this. And
that's why I'm going to say then he's the reason why I didn't care for the movie as much as I did the series. Just saying.
I'm not going to blame Donald. What I will say is, though, that the original concept of what Joss Whedon actually wrote for the movie exists, which is great for everyone. It exists in comic form. Apparently there's a comic out there in that whole Buffy universe, and it's called The Origin. Yeah. And Joss Whedon approved that. If you find that comic called The Origin, that is what he originally wrote for Buffy the movie.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, if you're curious to know how it might have went or how it was, it is
how it was supposed to be, you mean? Yeah. Before the big actors try to come in and change it?
Yeah, something like that. So that one is out there. That one's available. And what else I'd like to say about as we continue our talk on the movie and away from Donald Sutherland hijacking the whole project, is that Alyssa Milano was originally to play Buffy.
Oh God, that would have been awful. What were they going to do? Dye her hair blonde?
I don't know.
Oh, she was... No, I can't stand Alyssa Milano. So that was a good choice.
Yeah.
That was a good choice.
Okay. And of course, Buffy's kind of semi-love interest in this is obviously going to be this week's Beverly Hills 90210
Dylan McKay.
connection.
Luke Perry.
Also played by
Mr.
Luke Perry, as you mentioned. He was always a pleasant.
There's a couple
pleasant aspect of the
90210. Yeah, there's a couple.
I'm sure you're going to find more
references.
links. In here.
I will. Well, Hilary Swank was in 90210.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go.
Obviously, Luke Perry more prominently.
Of course.
In one of the main leads. Anyway, this is kind of his first kind of acting in the film kind of gig, like, you know, like a decent leadish, you know, co-starring role, I should say, then in the movie, because he tried to branch outside of Beverly Hills 90210 for a while, and apparently even this film was made in between seasons somewhere. They had to film it. There was a certain the schedule then was around Luke Perry turning up to make the movie. Interestingly, so he obviously
so it's probably why he was missing out of some episodes.
Yeah, apparently. So, I mean, so that goes.
Yeah.
And what I really want to mention here in this one is just the fact that he has one of those very distinct 1990s soul patches.
Oh no, not the soul patch.
Yeah, which for anyone who's listening and is wondering what the hell we're on about, was a very trendy 90s idea for young men to have a little bit of air under the bottom lip.
A little bit of hair. It's like a little dot of something. Like, just shave it. If you have one, please don't ever grow one. Just shave it.
Okay, sorry if you've heard that. Feel free to continue your beard if you like your soul patch.
Oh, everybody's big beard now, so I don't have to worry about offending anybody. But if you ever get a soul patch, if the 90s come back, which they are trying to bring it back, just don't do it.
The soul patch it's very distracting when you watch the movie now. I keep looking at it and thinking, couldn't you just got that during shaving?
It's just a little dot. It's a little dot under the lip.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
makes me sick thinking about it.
It's very fashionable. It's all very spiky, frosted tipped hair and little beady necklaces and soul patches.
Yep.
And soul patches.
Ugh. 90s,
Anyway.
90s for guys was not good. The women's fashion was excellent. 90s guys, not good.
Okay.
Moving on.
Men were very attractive in the 90s. So yeah, he plays Buffy's kind of love interest. He's not the jock, he's the strange kid at school who hangs around with David Arquette. And for me, they're kind of the funny element of this movie, watching those two go about their business. Particularly the one scene, which is obviously a homage to Salem's Lot. David Arquette's character is bitten, and then he finally comes back as a vampire at the window. He's floating outside the window, which is interesting. I mean, in general, for Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a movie, I don't mind it. And like I said, a lot of people really hate it.
But you never watched the series.
No, but I remember seeing the film when I was sort of the right age. I was kind of 12 when I watched it. And I was thinking, oh, this is cool. It's got vampires. And I recognised, obviously, Donald Sutherland, Rutger, who people I knew growing up with. So, you know, to me, it was just... I mean, it's no masterpiece, of course, but it was a fun movie and I kind of enjoyed it as a 12-year-old. Maybe if I watched it again this weekend, I would probably cringe.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd see a lot of its faults there. And I'm not saying it's faultless, but to me, it's kind of endearingly entertaining in my head. That's how I remember it. And as we're going to find out pretty much when we move on to talking about the series, you're absolutely right. I didn't watch the series.
Except what I showed you.
Yeah, which you kind of showed me in the last year, which we've been watching it. So yeah, the film comes out, it kind of doubles its budget, and that's pretty much it. And Joss Wheadon really isn't happy with the final outcome of that. And in between this and the series starting, he kind of makes a name for himself by co-writing the screenplay to... Well, he does a few writing jobs here, but he co-writes the screenplay to the Oscar-winning animated movie Toy Story, which is funny thinking that, you know, he's part of that, but he co-wrote the story. And also did some writing or rewriting on some big movies, actually. I think he worked on Twister and Speed and Waterworld, all these big Hollywoody blockbuster type things.
And he went on to do Avengers and...
Yeah, which we'll get to at the top of the, you know, when we get to the top of the show, we'll just kind of mention where he is now and what he's doing now. So yeah, he was working on some, you know, big projects, and apparently big chunks of his dialogue scenes are still in Speed, apparently. What he wrote, I'm not sure, but... So yeah, so his clout as a writer was sort of improving in this little space between Buffy, his pet project, flopping at the box, not flopping, but not being the success that you know, not being the project he wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And then Fox the Network kind of picking it up in 1997, which is where we're going to sort of go now to talk about how Fox picked the project up to make it into a whole series.
Yeah, 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Buffy, the Buffy universe. So
yeah.
It was one of my favorite series next to 90210. So,
of course.
And it's funny because I didn't start watching it, I don't think, straight away, like the first season. I don't think I caught it on television, but then I picked it up pretty quick. I just fell in love with it because it's everything I love is vampires and teenagers and high school and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
And, you know, prom scene still in there. And
creepy, strange English men. Yeah.
Creepy, strange Englishmen. Oh, what about American men acting English, like Spike, who was a vampire, and he was really not British, and I did not know that, and for the longest time. And he's just a good old Texan boy, and I thought he was British, so I think he did a good job.
Until you watch it again now and realise it's really bad.
Yeah, now that I recognize, like the difference of the voices and stuff, I guess, a little bit, I'm like, oh, it's kind of cringy, but I still love them. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 97, the show starts. Fox, Joss Whedon, obviously now complete control of this whole universe, and he finally gets to put out what he wanted to put out in terms of his ideas and his humour, especially. And just speaking for myself, like as I pointed out, I never watched this series. I remember it being on, and I remember it being very popular. And I think if anyone talks about Buffy now, that's what we're talking about. We don't really, the film, it kind of came and went, but if anyone mentions Buffy now, it's the first image you see is Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh yeah,
and that
perfect.
Kind of Anthony Head and that music that we played at the top here.
Well, I think it had a different music in the first season.
Okay.
That one came on in the second season.
Okay.
But they always do that. They did that with 90210. Just saying.
Just, yeah. And seeing you're, probably in a better place to kind of talk about this show in particular. So, what is the general setup of the TV show?
Well, it was the Valley Girl
coming. Did they follow the movie? Just want to...
Oh, yeah. They did in the first season. They brought in the whole, the Valley Girl coming to the school, starting a new life with her mom, was a single mother, and then her...
Now played by...
Christine
Sutherland.
Yep, Christine Sutherland.
No relation to the guy who ruined the movie, apparently. He didn't, in my opinion, but...
No, she took that name from her cat, named Donald Sutherland, actually.
So Donald still has some bearing on
this.
Oh,
it does. It's kind of a little connection there, but she was
Obviously...
being compared to somebody else, so she changed her name to Christine Sutherland.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is weird, because then you think, oh, well, she related Donald. No, she's not. So, Joyce Summers, she was excellent in that role. Yeah. Loved her. I think she just did little TV stuff before that, maybe like TV movies or little stuff. And then, so she moves to a new town, but it comes out later that, that was her purpose to come to Sunnydale because it's on top of the Hellmouth, which is...
It's her destiny.
It's her destiny with all the demons. And then you have, like, the Watcher, who is the librarian at the school. So it's all, like, it all kind of melds into one. And, she tries to be the cheerleader and tries to be, the normal girl because at her other school she used to get in trouble because she was fighting demons at the other school.
Damn those demons.
Yeah, and the mom doesn't know yet, So she... she finds out that she was meant to be there, and she starts hanging out with, like, this crew that later becomes the Scooby Gang. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she basically finds her destiny, tries to do what she's meant to be doing, but also live her life as a teenager. A normal
she's
girl.
A teen. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to live her life, and then all these pesky little vampires and demons come to try to kill her.
And the Watcher this time is played by, as you said, Anthony Head, English actor, who's also Murray Ed's brother. I thought I'd just check that in for anyone who kind of is familiar with an old English actor and who released a few pop records back in the day.
One Night in Bangkok. One night in Bangkok, and because they both did
One Night in Bangkok.
Yeah, and they both did like
is that that film
musicals.
Is that the movie that we hide under the mattress and people come around?
No, it's a song. Okay. It's an '80s song. It's really good. Check it out. I think it's he was like a one-hit wonder in the States, anyway. So
okay.
But yeah, they're brothers, and
he works as a librarian.
Yep.
Takes in this teenager, tells her what she's going to do, becomes a little ally and friend.
Yeah. Okay. It's really good, and then she starts hanging out. Of course, there's different groups of kids at school that she's trying to fit in, and there's the popular,
the social
bitchy,
groups,
the bitchy girls, and then you have like the geeky squad and
the jocks.
And then you have the jocks that are always trying to hit on her because, she's Buffy, in her little short skirts and stuff. But Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think, was like the perfect role for it because actually Cordelia, Charisma Carpenter, who auditioned for the Buffy role.
Okay.
And both of them auditioned for the opposite roles. And
so they were swapped around by a producer or something. Yeah.
Which I think was a better choice because Sarah Michelle Gellar just makes a whole lot better Buffy, She's short, cute, can do flips and her kung fu fighting, whatever, her karate.
With a stunt double, which I love. Well, I love a stunt double.
But she did do some of it. But you did see the stunt double with the wigs, and you're like, oh God, she did not do that. Like, it's so cheesy.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So Cordelia's the friend.
She is the popular girl, and she tries to, get Buffy first because Buffy looks cool and, like pretty, and she wants to be in cheerleading.
And who is this Scooby gang that you talk of?
And then you get Willow, and Cordelia is the one that always makes fun of the geeks, and, and so Buffy just being nice, like makes, feels bad for Willow, so she becomes more friends with her and her friend Xander, and so they become like a little gang. And
Willow's the girl from American Pie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Allison Hannigan.
Thank
so
you.
Yeah, she played in How I Met Your Mother and all that good stuff.
Yeah, which is a proper face that everyone kind of
Another
recognizes.
big show that she was on that for a long time too, but coming into it.
And who's the other guy again?
Nicholas Brendan, I think.
Okay, and he plays
Xander.
And he looks like Matt Dillon.
Was it Matt Dillon?
He looks loads like young Matt Dillon.
You did say that before.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Which kind of annoyed her as we were watching it.
I did not see it.
Did he have a soul patch?
Yeah, he did have a soul patch. It was so bad. It was the 90s. How can you not have a soul patch?
I suppose in 97. I mean, okay, you're a big fan of the whole thing. Was this a series that took off immediately, or did it take time? Did it take like 2 seasons to grow?
I can't remember. I don't think, like I said, I kind of missed the first season, but that was just because I was young and doing other things at the time. And
you came back to it?
Yeah, and then somebody suggested it to me.
Okay.
And, said, oh, have you watched this? And I'm like, no, what am I missing out on here? And I watched it and I was like, oh, well, how did I miss this? Because I love it so much. And you could really see the comedy that Joss brings to it.
Yeah, the kind of stuff that was
supposed to be for the movie, because it's all his writing, and they portray it so well, like in the way because they're actors and they actually listen to the visionary director, which is what they're supposed to do.
I hope
they weren't high and mighty.
I hope Donald Sutherland's not listening to it.
I hope he is.
I really don't.
So yeah, they portrayed his way of writing really well, I think. So it was good.
Which is a fair comment.
Yeah. Of course, I'm right. I'm always right.
Yeah, there goes the tumbleweed. Who's the hunk who I keep seeing around?
Angel. Are you talking about David Boreanaz? I think that's how he's in. Boreanaz?
Yeah, that one.
No.
Bourbon.
He's not
David Bourbon?
Oh, he was the hunk of Burning Love, and all the girls pined out. I didn't, because I like the British guy.
Of course.
I like the fake, even though he was fake British. I still liked Spike, which was James Masters.
It is, yeah, he played Spike, yeah.
Yeah, the Texan guy.
Yeah. Can I just point out at this point, just to stop the show for a second, and just say that I'm 100% made in Britain, okay?
Well, good for that, because I thought he was 100% made in Britain, and I still liked
him. I didn't think much of David Bourbon cream either. But he was very popular.
Poor Angel.
He was very popular.
He was. And
it's popular enough to get a spin-off show.
Of course. Yeah, because he probably stayed till season 3
of Buffy.
So yeah, first season was her just coming to the school, being around everybody, kind of focusing, bringing it off from the trying to make it like the original movie,
but trying to find his own identity too, I guess.
And then so that's when season 2, everything picks up, and they're still living on the Hellmouth. They bring in new characters like Drusilla, which is Julie Landau, I think her name is. She's really British.
Okay.
She's British, and then they bring in Spike, and just a couple other characters and baddies that are on the show, that try to kill and everything. So
yeah. Just gives me a second to mention like Jeff Alderman, who's a beloved member of our group. I'm sure we met that Juliet Landau.
Oh, did he?
Recently,
I think he did.
At a con.
Love her, because I always loved that whole Drusilla and Spike, because they do back episodes like later on. I think in probably season 3, where they go back in time and shows how they were turned into a vampire.
Okay, so they got their own spin-off like episode basically.
Because Julie Benz, she's actually from season 1. She was in the very first episode, and she went on to play in other shows like Dexter and TV stuff, but she was really big, part of who turned Angel when he was younger. So she and Drusilla turned Spike. So those 2 women are the ones that made them. But yeah, so those 2 went back in time, and it was good. Good episode.
Yeah, all I remember the Angel thing at the time was I remember a lot of my mates' girlfriends fancying him, so he was never popular around my friends.
All the girls loved Angel?
Yeah, they loved him.
I know. Is it because they always put him in this? He was in the tank tops all the time.
All muscled up, wasn't he?
I never thought he was cute.
And that's why you're with me. And he never had a soul patch either, did he?
No, he never had a soul patch. He was just always had that look, though, that smoldering. He'd give you the one eyebrow.
He did it well, I have to say. He did that well. And he also turned up he tried to branch out into the films a bit. I remember seeing him was he in one of those slasher ones? Like Valentine or something?
Valentine he was in. And I don't know.
Not so good.
He wasn't that good. He stuck to TV after that and was in Bones.
He learned his lesson.
Yeah, Popular's Up. But, like you said, he left after season 3, and he went to a spin-off. They did Angel, which
ran for 5 seasons. 110 episodes.
Yeah, it was okay. Nowhere near Buffy level, I thought. It could have been, because it had, oh god, I forgot his name, but he was in Roseanne for the longest time, and he played in season 1, and then he died unexpectedly, and so they had to cut him out of that, his character was out of that season. But I liked the show with him in it because he took it somewhere else. And then
was there any other actors that crossed over from Buffy to Angel?
Oh yeah, like they all made visits. Like I think Willow and Buffy, and then he'd come back and help Buffy at certain missions.
Because just looking at the time frame of when these two shows went out, they kind of ran pretty much in tandem. Buffy ran from 97 to 2003, and Angel a couple of years later, 99 to 2004. So it ran. So as Buffy finished in 2003, Angel ran for another year.
Yeah, after
Buffy had finished.
Yeah.
So, fairly successful. Like you said, I don't think people talk so kindly of Angel now in hindsight, but it's successful enough to, like I said, again, have 5 seasons.
I think it was just because it went into a direction that I didn't care for. That's why I stopped watching it. Was I think later in season 2 or 3 of Angel that...
Did it jump the shark?
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, basically, they had a kid, him and Darla, who was the one who turned him into a vampire.
In the first place.
Yep. So she comes on there, and they have a love affair again, and after, 18 centuries, and...
Oh, of course, yeah.
Whatever it was, 2 centuries. And, because I think he's 300 and something years old. And and so somehow she gets pregnant. I forgot how, but she has a baby. And this is, super mutant baby because it grows up in 4 episodes. I think he goes from baby to teenager
in 4 episodes.
Oh, it was awful. I didn't like it. Does
that beat the sequence between Rocky 4 and Rocky 5 where his 7-year-old son is 14 by the time he returns from Russia? Yeah. So it took 7 years to travel from America to Russia.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And to be fair, it only takes an hour to get from Manchester to Detroit.
As you once thought.
I never did.
Yes, you did.
Kind of.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was not my best moment.
We have them. So yeah,
the mutant baby that grew overnight. And it sounds like it's alive.
It was. It seriously was, because he had these superpowers, and because he's made from 2 vampires. I even forgot how she got pregnant because they're technically dead.
Yeah, so basically their organs should be all dead.
Yeah, I think there was somebody implanted something in her. So I if I remember correctly, somebody can correct me on this because I just blanked out that after a while. So because he came in, Connor was the kid's name, and he was shit. I think he was just a little shit that was annoying. I hated the guy who played him, whoever it was, the kid.
Whoever it was, please don't ever act again.
Yeah, I don't think he has, and if he did, I'd probably just thank God I didn't see it. So yeah, I don't even know who. I have to look up who his name is. Obviously, I don't look anything up before I do these shows.
And that is true.
So I don't know, I skipped over that whole season. So anyways, going back to Buffy, I was still on to Buffy.
Yes.
I fucked off Angel. Fuck Angel, right? I didn't need him. I wasn't happy with him.
No.
So Buffy goes off to college after the prom. Oh, there's a loving prom scene before Angel leaves of her and her and Angel. It's all sweet.
What do they dance to?
The Sundays, Wild Horses.
Oh, the Rolling Stones cover.
Oh, yeah, but they do it better. The Sundays did it a whole lot better. Loved it.
They didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No.
So they had like this touching prom scene, and so then he leaves and he goes off and to do Angel, and she starts going to college. You know, and when shows start to go to college, it kind of goes into that weird direction a little bit. But they still had a lot of good episodes, because one of my favorite, I think season 4 was Hush, where they had like the monsters come in and take the voices, and they were really creepy. Good special effects.
Yeah.
I think throughout the whole season there was like really good effects. Some of the vampires were kind of wonky at first, you know, like they had...
Yeah, because it was kind of a mixture of early CGI, which is obviously never the most impressive, and
then
not
it
great
morphed
now.
into something a little bit better.
Yeah, but there was also like a whole handful of practical effects. I remember seeing, because this is something I have to point in there real quickly, that Hope is kind of got me watching in recent months. We've run through some of it, and there is, like Hope says, it's a mixture of early CGI, but also there is still some practical effects. I remember seeing a few beasties and rubber. There's still the rubber costumes.
Oh,
and
definitely,
stuff
yeah.
Doctor Who would be very proud of.
Yeah.
Stuff that I like. And so I was quite, that put a smile on my face seeing those old effects.
Yeah, I think they only did the CGI effects basically at the end of season 3 when the graduation day. Like they, you know, there was a big fighting off the Hellmouth kind of master demon who was actually the mayor of the town, and he turns into this big snake. So they had to like make it into a big, you know, CGI thing.
Yeah, because there's no other way around it, really.
Yeah,
is there?
no, but like other than that, they did really good like special effects makeup on everybody. And
yeah, because I remember seeing a sort of gill monster type thing that was
was in it. The one where Xander and them turns into a little fishman or something.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and the classic gill monster, and there was a werewolf in one. I remember vaguely or something.
Oh,
various.
Because Seth Green comes on and plays the werewolf.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he does a really good job, and that's why they dye his hair brown and.
Because he's a natural redhead, isn't he?
Yeah.
So that would make him a ginger werewolf.
Yeah, and there's no ginger werewolf, so they had to dye his hair brown, which he just looked, you know, weird because it's Seth Green.
For anyone who hasn't seen the movie, that's not what Ginger Snaps is about either. Is it?
No.
There's no ginger werewolf in Ginger Snaps.
No, but there should be. Maybe there should be. But I showed you the effects where that episode where he was changing, and they showed
I remember seeing
him
bits and pieces of that.
Yeah, and it was good. You know, I loved it, and you know, him and Willow get together.
Seth Green.
Yeah, we're like the couple, power couple on that one. So it goes on, and then they had a new Watcher with a new Slayer, who was played by Eliza Dushku.
Yep.
She came on season 3.
Yeah.
She was like the little tardy girl.
You didn't like her?
No, I loved it. That's like one of my favorite
good,
seasons. Yeah,
good
like
character.
season 3. Yeah,
Okay.
she brought it. She did what she was supposed to do and act like a little badass tart. You know what I mean?
I've seen her in a few movies, and she seems to be pretty good at that kind of role.
Yeah. That's her role, and she that's her. So she portrays it pretty good.
How long was she in Buffy for?
She was in season 3, and then she would come back now and then. So she wasn't a prominent character after that. Just in that one season, she had more of a role in it.
Yeah.
But then after that, she just came back and helped Buffy doing scenes and stuff. So she'd pop back in probably about 4 or 5 episodes, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more than that, because then she went on and did other stuff later. So, which she did a show called Dollhouse that Joss did.
Yes.
Later on.
Which is one of his shows after Buffy. I think 2009 to 2010. For the last of the year.
Yeah.
One season.
Two
Okay,
seasons.
okay.
It should have been more. I don't know. They canceled it because it was on a Friday night and at 8:00, and nobody watched it except losers like me that didn't like to go. Where
was everybody on a Friday night?
I don't know, partying it up, and I was home watching Dollhouse. You know.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's what I love to watch. You know, pizza, Dollhouse, beer. I'm all good.
See, us geeks have to stick together.
And it was a really good show about laboratory who took these criminals and washed out their brains and made them into people that they weren't, and
zombies,
pimped them out.
basically.
Yeah, and pimped them out to the wealthy, so they were like basically like escorts and other stuff and doing
Okay.
this. Yeah, it was a good show, and then they just canceled it after 2 seasons.
Did it still have Joss Whedon's kind of
the
sense of
humor. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally had the humor like Buffy did.
So you were already a fan of Buffy and Angel. You're kind of on board with this too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a good show. if you have never seen it, check out Dollhouse. I recommend it.
Okay, so just the classic kind of bad timing, really. It just, unfortunately, it went out at that time. And,
yeah.
Because that's happened to kind of a lot of shows. I mean, you guys goes right back to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I mean, I read, that is my favourite show of all time, and I read so much about when those certain seasons went out, and they went out at certain time slots, and those time slots would basically kill your product. Do you know what I mean? If your product,
it does.
Yeah, and it's proven with something like
it is.
The Twilight Zone, which is massive, but once again, I think it's like the one where they started making 50-minute episodes instead of half-an-hour episodes, and it went out at a really bad time, and they almost cancelled it that season, but Rod Serling kind of got it back for one more season.
Yeah, there were certain time slots on TV that you would hope that the show would be on if you were in that position. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
In that show, you'd be like, oh, I hope I get a Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, because that's when the family's home after school and, watching TV. Not on Fridays and Saturdays, just was bad news.
When all the teenage kids are sort of out.
Especially a show like that, where it's teenagers and stuff.
Always geared towards teenagers. Dollhouse, there you go. So there's a recommendation for you. Firefly is another show, which again is foreign to me, but I know of.
Another show that he did, which had Nathan Fallon, who was in the final season 7 of Buffy, played Caleb. It was very good. I loved him in that character. He's one of my favorite characters in it. And he did that show Firefly, which only lasted one season again because I can't remember if it was actually on normal TV or if they put it on Sci-Fi or something, because it was a Sci-Fi show.
Was that a scheduling issue again, or?
I don't know, because I really wasn't a fan of that one.
Okay, but it's good.
Even though
I
like him,
following,
it does.
It?
It's huge, and people wanted to bring back. They actually did the movie. They did Serenity. Yeah. They did a movie. They have like so many people want the show to come back, and I thought they were supposed to bring it back. I could be wrong, but I just didn't get into it for some reason. But I would probably watch it again because it did have one of the guys. Like I said, they're all kind of linked together because
the Joss Wheadon universe.
Yeah, because he likes
reoccurring actors. Yeah,
because there's one guy in that who is in Dollhouse, and he played a really good character. So yeah, I like how he does that with his with
sort of rotates the cast of regular faces or
and
stock companies. They used to call that in theatre. If you got so used to working with certain people, you just knew they were good for your material, so you kind of keep them on standby.
Yeah, and I think there was a girl too that was on that, and she was in Dollhouse. So he used a couple of those people in different shows, TV shows, because he knew how they would act, and they actually listen when he gave direction, like you should. So
yeah, I'm saying nothing. Poor Donald. I still think Donald was in the right.
Never.
Yeah. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the kind of show that Joss Whedon's doing now. As we're still working in TV, and that's still going on. So just before we kind of jump forward to the project kind of after Buffy finished. Again, I just want to point out, basically going to ask you if you think that the show still holds up today.
Buffy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I'm certainly seeing some of it for myself now. Obviously, technically, 90s fashions and 90s stuff, But if you put that to one side, I think it's still the proof is in the pudding, basically. Because my 8-year-old son Gene, who enjoys a shout out every now and again on this show, although we really shouldn't be listening. But basically, he watched it with you. Kind of hopes dragged him into kind of watching it. But,
he loves it.
Yes, he does now.
He loves it.
But for the first couple of episodes, like, you got to see this, you got to see this. It's got fighting and monsters and all the stuff that you like when you're 8 years old. Well, I certainly did.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's really enjoyed it. Gene, the episodes that he's seen, Gene was completely on board with it, which is really cool.
Yeah. So hopefully when he gets older, he'll go back and start watching the whole series or something.
I think he would happily watch it now if it was on.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So a big shout out for Gene.
Yeah. Because he's a trooper. He watched it with me.
He did, and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And particularly the Ash episode, which again, we should mention, he liked that.
Yeah, with the creepy monsters.
Yeah.
So, I think it still holds up today because, if an 8-year-old can...
Yeah, if it can hold his attention still for like an hour, which it did. More than once.
And I don't find it too dated. I mean, the fashion, it was there. You had the 90s fashion, but it was late 90s. So it was kind of phasing out a little bit, like changing a little bit.
Yeah, because
it wasn't a whole soul patchy and baggy jeans, Yeah,
because you watch episodes now of shows from the 90s, and one I'm going to point out is Friends. If you ever see reruns of Friends now,
God, it's awful.
The size of Ross's jumpers.
Jumpers in America would be sweaters, just so you guys know.
Oversized
sweaters.
Big jumpers.
Yeah, they are pretty big. Kind of like almost Bill Cosby big.
Oh dear, we just mentioned him. Okay.
Cosby Show big.
Slowly moving on.
I'll move on.
Yeah, so Buffy's still holding its own, in terms of getting younger fans aboard, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure Gene will stick with that one. Is there a season that you would say is the highlight? I mean, there was, what was it, seven? What's the 7 seasons? Where does it peak?
Okay, well, 5, because you think it's going to go downhill because they're going in college and they're going to run out of things to do. Well, they bring on whole new characters, and then they have Buffy's mom. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, just please turn me off right now. But there's a whole episode where she dies because she has cancer.
No.
And it makes me choke up just thinking about it today, still, when I read about it or watch it. And I'm like, oh, that was such a heart-wrenching, because Sarah Michelle Gellar just portrayed it so well.
Yeah.
And I think I think she's a really good actress.
Yeah.
And it was just such a good show.
She hasn't done much outside of Buffy, really. Not really. You're probably not as much as what you're kind of suggesting that she should have done.
Yeah, because she did the, kind of cheesy horror movies, like Nothing Too. Well, she did I Know What You Did Last Summer. Scream 2.
And she was in the remake of The Grudge.
And, nothing that really wasn't too standout outish, I don't think.
Do you think that she just had a certain look that where maybe casting directors wouldn't have taken her seriously? You're just destined to play love interests and pretty girls rather than someone where you got to really sort of give it some acting chops.
I think sometimes when an actor is in a character for so long, for 7 years,
typecasting. Yeah,
they kind of lose their way of finding what to do afterwards, and so they typecast.
I didn't really think of that, because that makes it very hard then for casting directors to see you as anything other
else than Buffy.
What you've been, I guess.
Yeah.
To be fair to her.
And so I could see that happening, because even in like Scream 2 and what was the first one? I Know What You Did. She was still that kind of like teeny, Valley Girlish kind of acting.
Pretty blonde again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's high school or whatever, like kind of characters. So.
And didn't she do the Scooby-Doo movies too?
Oh yeah, she did.
I forgot those.
She played Daphne, I think. And that's where she met. Oh, no, she met her husband on I Know What You Did Last Summer, actually. Okay. Freddie Prinze Jr. And they're still married today.
Oh, that's good.
Which is,
congratulations to them.
Yeah, that's good.
Did he woo her with a soul patch?
He probably did. Yeah. I don't know. I have to go back, but yeah. So yeah, like the whole 5, was this whole mom, her dying, and just this whole thing went on. And, you have to watch the series because there's just a lot of it that goes on. I think it only fell off at season 7 for me anyways, because then they kept
this is the last season.
Yeah, because like I said, they kept bringing in new characters, new baddies, as like they like to call it, the bad vampires.
Do you think that was in an effort to kind of keep freshening it up?
Yeah, which was a good choice, to bring in new people. Yeah, of course. At first, some of them like, what the hell is this person doing in here? And then all kind of gels together throughout the whole series. And then they try to make it different. They even did a musical episode, Buffy the musical, which a lot of people liked. I didn't really care for it at first.
But you hate musicals in general.
Yeah, I don't. Well, it depends. It depends. I like some. Okay. But most of all, no, I wouldn't go watch a musical. So at first I was like, oh, why are they doing Buffy the musical? And then it just kind of ties into everything with her mom dying, and actually Buffy dies at some point, because when
in the final season?
No, in season 5, I think, end of season 5. Yeah. Or 6, something like that, but it was to save the universe type thing. She gave her life for it, and this wasn't the first time she died, because that's how a new Slayer is born, is when a Slayer dies, and that's how Faith came in, and all Kenya and all these other Slayers that come in, because Buffy's died a few times, let me tell you, and then she comes back.
So her death means nothing.
Yeah, right. And so at this point, Willow's like a witch. She's honing her experiences, and Willow's getting into the dark side of things, and when the last time Buffy dies, it was after her mother died, and Willow brings her back, and that was just heart-wrenching too. It makes me sad thinking about that whole season. So Tears. It was so good. It was so good. If you guys haven't watched it, and then just kind of falls off at 7 for me, because they start bringing in, I think they knew it was the end anyways, though, so they kind of like, I don't know, fell short for me, I think, but they start training other Slayers and everything else. So.
Okay. So the last episode of season 7. I don't know if you remember it or not. Does it kind of tie up? Is it kind of like the network knew that they were finishing making Buffy, or was it a case of, oh well, we keep
No, they tie it up because Angel
Okay.
actually comes back and
Oh, okay.
helps her too, and Spike is on it. And,
So you have some big final episodes, do we?
yeah, and Spike, saves the day in that one,
Oh, okay.
and because somebody has to die to save the world again.
Yeah.
And they have to give their soul.
Okay.
And I think at that point Spike had a soul for some reason, because usually when you're dead you don't have a soul. So
What about a soul patch?
yeah, no, he never had one, thank God. And so he kind of saved the day in that one, and then he ended up going to Angel's final season
Oh, okay.
as a ghost, which was really
So
awesome.
still riffing on the Buffy universe.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of followed off. I like how they intertwined it a lot. The two series, they intertwined and made certain episodes together.
So if you basically it'd make it very difficult to follow the one series if you didn't have any knowledge.
Yeah,
of the
you
other.
wouldn't know what was really. You wouldn't know the insides. You still probably would like it, but you wouldn't know the inside of it. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Buffy, finishes, as I said, season 7, 144 episodes later, it finally ends.
oh, good. And I'll have to say,
Yes.
Hush and Tabula Rasa, 2 great episodes. You have to watch.
Those are your 2 choices.
Yeah, and I kind of like the one where Buffy turns into a caveman from drinking beer, which was so weird.
Which is what you do on a
college.
Friday. And that's true. She puts me to bed.
Give me beer.
Yeah, no, I'm scared. And that's all true.
Pizza.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all. That's my 3 words I say
Okay.
for the night.
So those are the kind of 3 episodes to go and look for if you're just curious to sample it.
Yeah, and I mean, especially some of the early episodes, season 3. You know what? Just watch the whole fucking thing. And like I said, the mom, but you wouldn't know that without watching the first season.
Yeah.
So you just have to watch it. Watch the whole series in a whole. It's probably on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Prime. I think it's on Prime.
It's shown on Prime now, yeah. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that's
just-
where we've currently watched it.
Yeah, we watched it on Prime. So go watch it.
Here in the UK, I mean.
And then you can hear the music, the great 90s music that
Yeah.
goes into it, because you have Amy Mann that pops on, because of course there's a club called the Bronze, right? And that's where all the kids hung out, was at the Bronze. And they had, that's how Seth Green came on, because
He played
was
in the band, didn't he?
He was in the band, The Dingo Ate My Baby, which
Yeah.
is not my best Australian.
No. Meryl Streep would not be happy.
But yeah, he was in a band he started off with, and then oh god, I think he had a soul patch at that night, because I'm just remembering the fashion, and that fashion band was just so bad. You had like Biff Naked, you had Curve, you had the Breeders.
Yeah.
That was actually
Yes, massive Breeders fan, yeah.
Michelle
Really cool.
Branch. Like
Yeah.
you had all of these.
Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, you had all of these good 90s. I don't know about good, but
No,
you had
but
the music of the
Of a
time.
high caliber that people,
Yeah.
everyone would recognise, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That would come and play at the nightclub,
Yeah, which is kind of almost like predating what David Lynch did in recent stuff with the Twin Peaks things. There was recent The Twin Peaks: The Return or whatever it was.
Oh, you
where-
mean when he ripped off that kind of scene?
Well,
Is that what you're
basically, yeah,
saying?
because he kind of, yeah, we could say that, because he kind of, did his little bit to insert certain bands.
Oh, that's
yeah.
just him trying to be,
Hip.
Yeah, he's just trying to be hip and show off his favorite kind of music, which was, good music, because it had the chromatics and all that stuff in it.
Yeah.
And I liked those bands.
Yeah.
But it's like, I did not need those scenes in Twin Peaks. I'll come back to you. We'll come back to Twin Peaks and David Lynch
Yeah.
another time, because another favorite series of mine. But
Buffy come first, folks.
Buffy, no, 90210 comes first.
Oh, jeez,
then
God.
Buffy.
Can I just
then
say as
Twin
well,
Peaks.
before, because I'm sure we're coming pretty
Top
much...
3.
Did you get that, people? As we're sort of rolling towards the end of this topic today of Buffy, can I just add a little fact that you didn't add in here, which you really
Okay.
The first 3 seasons of Buffy were filmed in the same school
Oh, it's
as
9.
Beverly Hills 90210.
I know. I think
Why didn't you tell me?
I don't know, because I forgot, and I was thinking about it when we were talking about it for some reason, and then I was
She had too much to say.
because they blew up the school and then they go off to college. So
Let's just blow it out.
yeah.
Yeah, why not? We've
Yeah.
left, haven't we? You don't need it anymore.
But if you look at the landscape, it's so 90210. Love it. Every time you look at it, it's 90210. And they were already done with that school by then, because it was West Beverly at the time. And then they went off to college, so they were done with that school. So they
Okay.
gave it to them.
So just to kind of top this whole thing off, really, once the show finished and Joss Whedon it kind of finished his thing with Fox, as far as Buffy was concerned,
Yeah.
it ran into the comic books, which I did mention a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
If you want to find it as original screenplay for the movie, it does exist in a comic called The Origin.
Yeah.
But the comics ran 2007, so they a couple of years after the show finished, a couple of years after that and Angel finished, 2007 to 2011. I'm not sure if they're still making them now or not, the comics.
I think they might, but I don't know. It doesn't run off of, I don't know, it might be something different, because I know they did, after the show ended, the fans still wanted more.
Yeah.
Of course, because they're like like me, a Buffy fans.
So despite the network giving up on it,
they made season 8, season 9, season 10
in comic
book form. Yep. So if anybody wants to
continue the story, it is out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there was different ones they did of, but that could have been earlier on. They did one of like just Slayers and vampires and stuff.
So
before the whole Buffy thing came in.
Okay, so before the TV show itself as well.
Or like during the beginning of the TV show.
Yeah, when it was starting out.
But they didn't focus on any of the characters as they did in the later ones. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when everyone was familiar with it. We should also point out that in July of 2018 at San Diego Comic Con, Joss Wheadon came forward and said he's going to reboot the whole Buffy thing, which was something that said, and it's kind of gone quiet again now. Where, I mean, how do you feel about that? And maybe that should be probably one of the last questions I ask you. Is there a place for it anymore? Should it come back?
You know, I did read about that, and you know, they were trying to make out that Sarah Michelle Gellar was coming back, but I think she would just make, a cameo in it
as Buffy.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, who else is she going to be? She couldn't be anybody else.
Buffy's
I would be angry.
Numa?
No, she's got to be Buffy. Like, there's only one Slayer to me. Even though all these other Slayers come on, Buffy is the one.
Maybe she just hands down the torch.
No. Well, they already did that in the 7th season of Buffy. She handed down the torch to all these little Slayers, and they were still nowhere near, like, how Buffy was. So, no, I don't... You know, I don't know. I would have to watch it to see it, but it would probably turn out like how they rebooted 90210, and it's sucking, so...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's just, it had its time. It needs to stay in the 90s. It needs to stay...
It's a program of its time, yeah.
A program of its time. What did it run to? 2003?
Yes.
Yeah, 2003. You know, just stay there and don't...
Just be happy with what you got. Yeah.
Like 90210 State was 90 to 2000. Just stay there.
Yeah.
You know,
don't spoil the legacy.
No, because I mean, even though I wanted to come back and see those people, it's not the same, and then I get disappointed and sad, and then I don't want it.
And trust me, a disappointed and sad hope is not good company.
I do want it, and I don't want it, so it's kind of I'm torn, because it's just, we know that it's never going to be the same, you know?
Yeah, completely. Okay, so I mean, I'm quite happy with what we kind of summed up. We should also mention that he did Cabin in the Woods as well, which I was going to want to throw in before I finished. It was a Joss Whedon idea, which was full of these crazy Joss Whedon kind of humour. And I'm guessing if you're a fan of that guy, that's probably something else you should probably go and take a look at.
Yeah.
Okay, so that pretty much sums up today's show as far as our Buffy discussion. But believe me, Hope could talk about the subject for another year.
I could, because let me say that he, at the end of every episode, he did, there was like a little mutant guy, he made this production company for Buffy called Mutant Enemy. And so at the end of every episode, there was like this little zombie guy going, grr, R, and then you just always hear it. And you know Buffy is ended. And
that's great. But we have to finish now. So that just leaves...
I'm putting it in here.
Oh, yeah. What is there now? Just leaves me to say thanks for all your knowledge and input on that show, Hope, because I have to admit it's one I didn't see. But
well, you still have lots more for me to show you. Don't worry, I'll be showing you the rest of the season. Okay. And I'm gonna be like, it's gonna be like Clockwork Orange, where I like just pry open. Yeah, I'm gonna pry your eyes open and make you watch every single episode with me.
And as much as I love Malcolm McDowell, I'm not looking forward to that. Okay,
you'll love it. You'll love it.
Well, maybe we're going to give that a look now. What I will say, though, is, again, thanks everyone for listening. If you keep listening, I really appreciate, your time and effort in listening to us. Me and Hope both really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. But for this show and this week, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this is Ian James, again, saying goodbye.
And this is Hope saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
Grr. Arg.